Hidden deep underground, behind a thick barrier of vicious vines, the lizards continue to live in their virtually impenetrable temple, all but forgotten by the outside world. They were not always this way, however. Once they roamed the surface of Terraria, bending the world to their whim with their advanced technology while simultaneously maintaining the balance of nature. Long before evolution had even considered the idea of humanity, the lizards rose to sentience, flourished on the untouched world, and heralded in a golden age of Terraria.
Hello, my honey. Hello, my rack.
Not long after Terraria was born, the nymphs, mystical caretakers left by the gods, watched the world bloom. As a shapeless vapour enshrouding the planet, they did not interfere with nature's development, they merely observed and guided it, as other custodians developed and took more active roles. This was until a day far sooner than was expected, when they observed an odd reptilian quadruped lean back on its hind legs to get a view of the world around it. Although a simple act, this was the first sign of intelligence on Terraria, a curiosity of the world despite the creature's own impediments. Watching the creatures carefully for millennia, the nymphs were stunned at the progress the reptiles had achieved. Their bodies were rapidly adapting to an upright posture, their minds were expanding to be able to use basic tools, and they were already communicating amongst themselves on some basic level. Astounded by their progress, the nymphs dared to investigate closer, taking on the form of the reptiles to walk among them. Without interfering, a select few nymphs lived among the remarkable species, as they learnt how to farm insects to eat rather than hunt, build villages and soon towns. Within a few more millennia, the reptiles, in their tongue lizards, had spread across Terraria and constructed many pre-industrial cities. At this point, the nymphs, with more of their kind taking the lizard form, took the race's progress as a given and turned their attention more to their culture and beliefs. Over their evolution, they had shown great interest in the sun. Being as they were cold-blooded, the sun gave them energy, and was believed to be the one true entity that drove their development. Soon, cults of organised sun worshippers sprung up across the civilization, and soon praising the sun was as ingrained in their culture than anything that had come before. Everything bore the solar iconography, from buildings to clothes, and everything that came after was done in the honour of the sun. Then came the greatest advancement in lizard history. Breaking into the industrial world, they managed to harness the power of steam, and their domination over Terraria exploded. Vast machines were created to harvest crops, to clear land and to build ever larger cities. For the first time in their existence, the nymphs felt fear of the lizard's progress, concerned about the impact on the purity of the world. With almost their entire population taking the form of lizards, the nymphs felt it was time to reveal themselves in an attempt to curtail the industrial progress. Not knowing how the species, now capable of being a threat, would respond, it was decided that the nymphs would pool their power and attempt to take the form of a solar being, a herald from the lizard god, to tell them to change their ways. Many nymphs disagreed with this course of action, believing it broke their tenet of non-interference, but seeing no other way to protect their purity, they went along with it, and on a day still held in regard by the lizards, the sky glowed brighter than it ever had, and the sun spoke to them. It declared its pride at their achievements, but voiced a concern for their responsibility, imploring them to protect the nature that had so benefited them during their evolution. Of course, the lizards obeyed their god, and almost overnight their technological development halted, the damaging machines dismantled, replaced by eco-friendly equipment to work in tandem with nature. The nymphs had preserved the purity, but in the process manipulated a promising race into stagnation. Unable to bear what they had done, the nymphs retreated into the jungle, in mortal form as penance for their actions, vowing to protect the lizards at any cost for the great sacrifice they had forced them to make. For the most part, the lizards lived in contentment with their god's decree, unaware of the even greater heights they could have gone on to achieve. However, others resented the actions their so-called benevolent god had made them take, and desired only to see how far their culture could advance, regardless of its impacts on the world. Over time, this desire grew into an obsession and a deep hatred for the sun. Slowly, more and more lizards came to feel the same and rallied against the sun worshippers, creating technologies in secret and weapons that they would one day use in an attempt to kill the sun. Dissent was growing in the once great lizard civilization, and the time of the moon worshippers would soon come.